Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be doing an interview with Dana Merwin for my 20% project, which is the school project that I've been working on my YouTube channel. I had one mentor, and so Dana was my mentor on this. And so so I'm going to interview her. She does stuff with documentaries and stuff, but so what exactly do you do in the documentary?
Yeah, that's a question I ask myself every day. But thank you. Thanks for this interview, Kai. It's great to talk about this. I'm really excited about what you're doing too. Well, I mean, when I was your age, I always knew I wanted to do movies.
Mhm.
I wanted to either write in them and be in them, and I was making my own movies with my one camera, and had all my friends acting in it, and was was just wanting to tell stories through film and television. And I grew up in Georgia in a really small town, and there was nobody doing that. There's nobody doing that. For a long story short, basically, I found my way to Los Angeles, where that was my film school. I didn't go to film school, and
Uh,
I don't think it's necessary to go to film school. And so what I did, I said yes to all the jobs that were in film and television. I was a boom operator. I was a production assistant. I eventually worked my way up, I guess is what you would say. But I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So as I was on sets with commercials or film, I was just watching what everyone did
mhm.
and learning what I like what the assistant director does. So for a while I was able to get jobs as an assistant director.
Mhm.
And then I was like, oh, this is too stressful. I don't like I don't like this. And then so I would talk to people similar to what you're doing and do like interviews and questions, just kind of like, hey, I'd like what you do. I like what you do. How can I get into that? And so eventually I started doing post production for film and television, which is managing like editors and sound design and all the finishing that goes into some of the things you don't see, the less glamorous stuff.
Cool.
And yeah, that was kind of my time that I spent before getting into documentaries, which is what I do now. And I work with an organization that gives funding and grants to documentary filmmakers.
Cool. And what's that organization called? Oh, sorry.
Yes, it's called the International Documentary Association, IDA for short.
That's that's really cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know all that. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's been really fun. It's definitely not something that I thought I would do because I always wanted to be making. And so this is very much a role of like getting applications from filmmakers and them telling us what their film is. And then we work with a bunch of other reviewers to decide which project gets funded. Yeah.
and how's that kind of changed during quarantine from what you were doing before quarantine? How's that like all changed up?
Yeah. For me personally, it probably hasn't changed much at all. I was already working from home, even though
Okay.
the main office is in Los Angeles and I'm in the Bay Area.
Mhm.
All my colleagues are now working from home, and so all of our lives are spent more on Zoom
Yep.
than maybe they used to be, which was probably more like still GChat or telephone calls. It's just like a mix. For the
Mhm.
filmmakers, it changed a lot. I mean, the empathy that I have for the filmmakers, because it wasn't safe to be out in the field or to be filming. So we watched our industry change a lot over the last year, with people not able to complete their films, and obviously for reasons of safety. But things are starting to open back up again. But we've tried to support those filmmakers, financially, but also just the mental health that's gone on with them losing their jobs or being at home.
Kind of answered this a little bit in the last one, but how long have you been in the position that you're in right now?
That's right. Yeah. With IDA, I've been since 2017. So just 4 years. Yeah.
So when you're looking for like a good documentary to fund, because when you're looking at that, like
Yeah.
what's some of the main kind of things that you're looking for in that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, we have different funds. So every grant kind of has its own criteria.
Mhm,
But one of our largest grants is called the Enterprise Grant, and it is looking for films, feature films, that are looking at like a contemporary urgent issue, and they're telling a story that is done in a different way. So it's elevating the conversation beyond maybe headlines or like small news stories. It's going really in depth into whatever that issue is.
mhm.
So that's really a priority for us, and we're also looking for storytellers and documentary filmmakers that are using journalistic practice. So you don't have to have gone to journalism school or, written for newspapers or done news, journalism on TV. But the importance of like journalism is like the ethics, the fact checking, the sources. And I know you do a lot of that with your videos. You're
Yeah.
citing sources, and that's really important for people to build trust in the information they're receiving.
Yeah.
So we're trying to teach and empower more filmmakers to do that. They don't necessarily have to, do everything, but a lot of the tools that come with journalism are going to strengthen their story. Yeah, so those are the kind of stories we're looking for. We're looking for, so that's kind of big. We're really looking, for urgent stories and contemporary stories. But we also want to know like how they're being made. It's very important to us, the ethics of how a film's being made.
Right. Um, with that, have you ever had like been partway through like someone making something and like that something comes up where it's like some ethical dilemma or something like that that makes it so that you have to stop? Like,
Yeah, that's a great question. So our role with IDA is that we do philanthropic funds, which is a fancy way of saying you get the money with no strings attached,
okay.
which is different than say, a private investor or, maybe some other fund. So for us, we still want to support a film, especially when it's going through maybe a challenging, time or question.
Yeah.
But we don't have like editorial insight. So we're not going to say, you got to stop this. But we have had instances where a filmmaker has come to us and wanted guidance and mentorship. And
Hmm.
so we've been able to support those filmmakers with like legal resources.
Hmm.
That's really important because we know those are really expensive.
Yeah,
And so we're
definitely.
able to help filmmakers with that. And then a lot of our conversations are in helping make sure that people are safe. Like a
Mhm.
lot of the situations that they're filming with. There's a film called Welcome to Chechnya that
Mhm.
we funded. That's about gay activists in the Ukraine and helping those folks get to a safe place. And so that film actually like animated all of the features of the people involved, so they could be disguised and they could do the film without putting the people in danger.
Oh, that's really
And
cool.
yeah, and so we like worked with those filmmakers not only for the finances, but to make sure that their project, wasn't like leaked, and that all the things in the making of it wouldn't harm those involved.
Right. That's yeah. Um, that for the no strings attached, that seems like that could end up being like a little bit dangerous. Like you definitely is there a really big vetting process that you have to go through beforehand?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. No, we're very rigorous. There's this application process that folks have to fill out, and they really have to talk about all of those things, like
Mhm.
what steps are they taking, what are their practices, and what is their relationship to the story.
Mhm.
We're really opposed to extractive journalism. So, like going into a community and then leaving and then not participating with the community and potentially causing harm. So, we
Right.
even have a question in the application like, why are you the right person to tell this story? And, if someone came to your family and wanted to do a story on them, on you, right, and then just left, and you never heard back from them, how would that make you feel? And So that's really important to us. So yes, it's not just me. We have all these reviewers who are different filmmakers and journalists, and the project gets seen by like as few as 2 people and as many as 15.
Oh,
So
wow.
by the
So,
time it receives money from us, it's gone through a pretty rigorous process.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Um, so when you're working with someone, when you're working with someone, like if they're submitting something and they're kind of in the early steps of
Hmm.
submitting something, what
Yeah.
are like the main pieces of advice that you would give them
Yeah.
for that?
Yeah, no, that's great. We try to support filmmakers at all stages of their career. So, like maybe someone who's an emerging maker versus like a mid-career.
Mm.
We always say like surround yourself with advisors or crew team members that are in step with what you want out of the project.
Yeah.
I think that always fits no matter where you are in your career. One of the examples I think of is we funded this. It's a series now. It's called "And She Could Be Next," and it was on PBS. And it was about all the women of color who ran for office in 2018.
Mhm.
That entire film was made by women of color. And when they put together their team, they were very much like, this is how we're going to make the movie. And
Yeah.
they very much knew like what they wanted to do and what they wanted. So I think like kind of knowing what you want out of your project, and who you want to surround yourself with. And that may change over time. But yeah, reaching out to the folks that see the vision you have is in finding good, meaningful collaboration. Um, knowing that knowing that things will change over time because it's a
Yeah.
documentary. Unless it's historical, you don't know how it's going to come out. um,
Definitely.
yeah, and finding but also knowing what the end of that journey can be for you. Now, if the funding of a film that's going to take 10 years versus a year, and just kind of having expectations for how long you're going to be on a project.
Yep. One thing like that actually kind of comes to mind with like knowing what you're gonna be going through is actually a documentary I saw I think last year.
Mhm.
And I think it's called The Social Dilemma. That sounds about
I
right.
saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So for that, like they're covering like a very like topic that's happening like right now, like that's all happening right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like some of the stuff in that, like they personally, in my opinion, they might have wanted to go into a less storytelling route just because some of the stuff they were telling, like if that documentary is seen in 10 years, then it won't make much sense. Like, and I'm not sure if that is like a thing that you would go into, but like it seems like that could be a little bit of a thing there.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good observation. I think that some filmmakers realize that they're making a film that could be timeless.
Hmm.
Uh, Evergreen is a term that folks use. Like, oh, you'll be able to watch this film in 2 years or 20 years.
Hmm.
Um, and then, yeah, some folks know that they're making something that's really just speaking to the moment.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And we need those films just as much as we need the ones that'll be timeless.
So like for me personally, if I'm going into a more documentarial route, like I've been working on some more documentary style videos, and I'm trying to make some like longer documentary style videos.
Mhm.
Um, what would you recommend to kind of keep it feeling like more of a story than just like saying facts all in a row?
Right,
Um,
right. Yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. And I really, I'm enjoying seeing you play with style. Like
mhm,
even this past year, your style has, you've experimented with different things. And I
mhm,
think that's part of it. I think like just experimenting and people say find your voice. What's your voice as an artist or as a performer? And the only way to do that is to try things and
yep,
to know what feels right to you or feels good. Not right, but just what I mean, like feels like Kai.
yeah,
um, so that's part of it, and you're doing that. Um, Watching other things, like
yeah,
just as a artist or as a performer, I'm constantly watching. and you're able to borrow from those. I mean, I know you did the thing on stealing. I'm not saying steal,
Yeah,
but
obviously.
you're you're inspired by styles. Like, are
Mhm.
you using animation or even your delivery? How much are you on screen? There's such a, I mean, the power of documentary is multifaceted, right? And
Yeah.
the tone you can deliver. Um, so yeah, I think we all know, like, how there's so many different ways to get information across. There's wagging the finger and there's preaching. There's the politician style. There's the prosecutor style.
Yeah.
So I think, finding those voices, that you are inspired by,
Mhm.
making them your own, um, and then finding the ones that you're just like, no, that's not my style.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
also something cool about that kind of thing, is I can actually see, in the YouTube, since I'm doing everything through YouTube,
Mhm.
like, well, I watch a lot of YouTube and I watch a lot of documentary style content on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I can see what parts of my audience kind of cross over for what videos,
Mhm.
with other channels. Like it'll show me like the channels that are like show that are people that watch my channel watch these similar channels to me.
Right.
And so I can see kind of like where my audience is and like where, what I can do to kind of like use that to my advantage, kind of. I'm not sure if
That's
that makes
right.
sense.
It
Uh,
does, it does, and I think there was something you said about how do you keep, like, someone engaged or, like, something like that. I would just say be mindful to just still be authentic,
yeah,
because I think uh that's what separates you. It's what, as much as, like, I say, like, be inspired by people, it's like the algorithms are out there, at
yeah,
the same time. Like, speaking of, the big tech, it's like, they're showing us what they want to show us
yeah,
in so many ways. And we know that that can be inspired by advertising or, all the things. So,
yeah.
um, yeah. But as much as you want to be like, what is my audience like? It's also, at the end of the day, I feel like it's like, what do you want to say?
That's true.
And what do you
Yeah,
like? Because
yeah,
if you're chasing public opinion, then that could change with the wind. So,
that's true. Especially online and everything. Like it goes there's so much new information coming out every second, and it's like
yeah.
especially for the topic I covered. I think it was a month ago.
Uh-huh.
It was like a drama topic, which I'm trying to stay away from that now. I feel like that was my
Mhm.
biggest, best performing video ever, but I'm gonna try to stay away from that because I like doing it, but
Mhm.
there's been like 10 more hour-long videos that have come out since then on
Mhm.
just on that one topic. And
Mhm.
and like I don't want to be making constant update videos on like what did I do wrong? What
Yeah.
has come out to validate my opinion? What has come out to invalidate it? What's like all that kind of thing. It seems like it's
Well, and I think that, sorry to interrupt. I think what, like you're saying, like opinions too,
yeah,
right? Because I think there's a difference in, op-ed opinions, those, versus documentary,
yeah,
like in some way, yeah, you're talking about, yeah, the yeah, opinion, yeah, style versus some of the other pieces you've done, which are, more documentary. So
yeah. And yeah, especially that one was very, very opinionated because
yeah.
kind of needed to be because like if you're covering a drama, you got to kind of take one side or another most of the time.
Yeah, and it's commentary, right? And commentary, I mean, we love, I think comedians are, commentary, and there's
Yeah,
just different ways of doing that. But yeah, it's how yeah, or you're invested in a topic and it could be advocacy and then yeah, you do have something at stake because it's a topic that means a lot to you. But
yeah.
yeah.
I think that's a pretty good place to kind of start wrapping it up. So yeah, thanks for doing this. It's
Yeah, I just
uh,
want to end by saying I'm really excited with the work you're doing. I love the intersections of art and drawing and commentary and poetry, and I'm really excited to see where else you go with everything. But yeah, thanks for having me, and
yeah,
yeah,
thanks for coming. Thanks for
yeah,
doing it.
yeah, anytime.
This will probably be up on my animation channel. I know it's not really animation, but that one kind of encompasses all the rest of the stuff. And then for the full interview, and then if you're watching from there, there's going to be a video. This is part of my 20% project, which is basically 20% of my grade for 8th grade is this one project, which is I've been working on as my entire YouTube channel.
Yep.
So if you're watching on my animation channel, then you can go over and watch that video that has the kind of what I've been doing, the behind the scenes of making my videos and all that kind of stuff.